So I've been testing something a little bit different lately, and in all honesty, it has surprised me. This is the ThirdReality Voice and Music Assistant Developer Edition. And going into this, I expected it to be interesting, but a bit rough around the edges. But instead, it's actually ended up replacing the HomePod Mini in my kitchen. Hey Siri, turn on the kitchen main.
One moment. Working on that. The kitchen main is not responding.
Hey Jarvis, turn on the kitchen main.
Turned on the light.
Let's open it up and see what makes this thing so special. Hi, I'm James, and I've been building out my smart home for years, with products from just about every manufacturer out there, figuring out what works and what doesn't. At a high level, this is a local-first voice device designed to work with Home Assistant. It handles voice commands, turn on the kitchen main,
Turned on the light.
plays music, and can even start a conversation with you.
Would you like some music? If so, what would you like?
And the key thing here is that a lot of it can run locally, so you're not always waiting on cloud responses for basic tasks. Now, quickly before we go any further, it's important to understand how this actually works behind the scenes. This device relies on the Home Assistant voice pipeline, so how well it performs and what it can do depends heavily on how you set that up. You've basically got two main approaches. You can either run things locally where your Home Assistant server handles the speech processing and commands, and that's fast and private as long as you've got powerful enough hardware, but usually more limited to smart home control and simpler requests. Or you can connect parts of the pipeline to cloud-based AI services. That gives you much more advanced capabilities like answering general questions or handling more natural conversations. The trade-off is that it can be a bit slower, and depending on what services you use, they might even cost you a little bit of money. So in simple terms, if you've got a more powerful Home Assistant server, you're able to run it more locally and more quickly. And if you've got a less powerful device, you'll be more reliant on cloud services. Okay, just quickly, while I was editing this, I realized there was something that I didn't make very clear. And that is that local also means private. If you set up a fully local pipeline, your voice assistant streams your speech to your local Home Assistant server, and it decides on device what you said, what your intent was, takes the required action, and even generates any response speech to send back to your voice assistant. This means that none of what you said leaves your home network. You could unplug your router from the internet and it would still work. And this device fits into that system really nicely, but it's not doing all of the thinking on its own. Now, setup is actually pretty straightforward. You power it on using the supplied charger. It shows up over Bluetooth. You connect to it, enter your Wi-Fi details, and then it appears in Home Assistant ready for you to add. From there, there is a setup wizard that walks you through creating an assist pipeline based on a few questions, which makes the whole process much easier than I expected. Honestly, this part felt a lot more polished than my previous DIY ESP Home satellite setups. So, with that all done, let's talk about performance, because this is where it really stands out, because it's fast, like surprisingly fast. Hey Jarvis, turn on the kitchen main.
Turned on the light.
Hey Jarvis, turn off the kitchen main.
Turned off the light.
So another quick clarification. I just wanted to make it clear here that I am running my assist pipeline using the built-in Home Assistant conversation agent for all of my examples. And for speech to text, I'm either using Whisper with one of the medium English language models, which can be much slower but will understand much broader requests, or speech to text, which is very limited in what it can understand, but it's lightning fast, because its understanding is limited to common smart home control phrases and your entity names. That is all it will understand, but it will do it so efficiently that it can even run on a modern Raspberry Pi. Commands respond quickly, and when you're using it for music, switching playback between speakers is almost instant. I genuinely wish I had more of these units to show off how seamless that handoff can be, because even when I tested it with my basic ESP home speaker that I built for my shower, it handled transitions surprisingly quickly and smoothly. Okay, quick demo of it playing some music now and switching over to my ESP home speaker in the bathroom. So if I play this now, I'm going to switch it over to the bathroom. That's playing already. And let's switch it back. And transfer. Instant. The speaker inside is rated at 3 watts, so you're not getting room shaking audio here. But for normal listening levels, especially in something like a kitchen, it sounds surprisingly good. Yeah, not amazing, not premium, but definitely good enough. I've genuinely ended up using it as my main music device in my kitchen now, even though I was previously using a HomePod Mini, which does sound better overall. But what matters more here is the reliability and responsiveness, and this wins on both. Also worth noting, make sure that you do use the included USB power adapter, or something that is equally powerful. If the power supply isn't strong enough, it may not boot properly, as I found out. And if you're using Music Assistant, this integrates really well. Playback is stable, announcements work properly, so it handles interruptions much better than the other speakers I've used. For example, if an announcement comes into the voice satellite whilst music is playing, it manages that transition cleanly without breaking music playback by just lowering the music volume while it talks. And this is where things get really interesting. It supports all of the core Assist features, including Assist announcements and the newer Ask Question capability. That means that your smart home can actually start a conversation with you. For example, when I come in from our garden gym now, the speaker asks me,
Would you like some music? If so, what would you like?
I can then respond with a specific artist or playlist that I've set up, and it plays exactly what I asked for every time. Royalty free.
Playing royalty-free music.
This is genuinely one of my favourite Assist features, which I am super excited to add to more of my automations and help make more in-the-moment decisions. And in fact, I plan to do a whole video about that in the near future, so make sure you're subscribed for that one. Having my smart home start conversations with me really makes it feel like I'm living in the future, when it works. I say that because this feature isn't quite perfect yet for some reason. There's a small issue that I've run into where it starts listening again a bit too quickly after speaking. So sometimes it picks up the last word that it said from its own question, which will confuse the response matching. I'm currently discussing this with ThirdReality, as it's not completely clear yet whether this is on their side or something within Home Assistant that's a problem. Either way, it feels like the sort of thing that will be fixed with a software update soon. Okay, I have now had a response from ThirdReality, and they've basically said that they don't think it's their issue. They said, quote, "The device actually only receives voice commands and then hands them over to the invoked plugins and AI for processing, blah, blah, blah." Now, I'm not 100% sure how accurate this is, because I suspect that if Home Assistant is hearing the previous speech from the question, then the device is most likely restarting the return audio stream a bit too quickly. But thankfully, in the meantime, I have come up with a clever solution that I am pretty proud of, and might hopefully help some of you if you're in the same boat with any Assist device. Now, when Home Assistant released the Ask Question feature, they did provide a nice blueprint for asking a yes or no question, and I've taken this as inspiration and built my own script to do this. I've included a much more limited list of ways to say yes or no, and then crucially I've repeated them all with the last word from the question at the start, in case Home Assistant hears that. And not satisfied with having to manually enter the last word from the question, because I wanted to be able to pass any yes or no question into the script, I've actually managed to extract the last word from the question automatically, so those variants are always checked correctly, resulting in much better reliability. If you would like to know more about this, let me know down in the comments, or join my Discord where I will share the full YAML for my script. Now let's quickly talk about its specs. Under the hood, It's running a lightweight Linux system on a quad-core ARM Cortex processor with 256 meg of RAM. What that means in practice is that it can easily handle the local audio processing for your chosen wake word. So even without an internet connection, it can still handle listening for your chosen wake word, and it does so much more quickly and accurately than my ESP home satellites did. Though it's still not perfect, even with its dual mics, it does often struggle to hear me initiate a command, even with a small amount of background noise, which is annoying, but you could ultimately set the button on top to do push to talk for those situations. Now, if you go for the developer version with the extra add-on board like I have here, you also get some extra tools. So on top of the ability to flash the firmware, you get real-time logs, debugging, and even the direct ability to edit the code on the device. There's also a GitHub repo with setup and flashing guides, which is great if you're like me and you like to tinker. And given that I like to tinker, and my wife hates having stuff living on the kitchen sides, I also decided to design some nice 3D printed mounting options for it. The first thing I designed was this little wall mount which you could sticky tape or screw to any wall. But then I remembered that I've been wanting to add some HSW panels, that's honeycomb storage wall, to the side of these cabinets for a little while now, so I eventually got some printed after an almighty nozzle clog and knocked up a modified mount to slot into the HSW inserts. I'll upload both of these designs to MakerWorld and link them below if you'd like to print your own, and if you'd like to just order one, then let me know and I'll add them to my store. So, overall, I'm pretty impressed. It's not perfect, but no voice system is right now, and out of the box, this thing works better than anything else that I've tried. It's fast, it's pretty reliable, and actually useful day to day. And the fact that it's already replaced one mainstream smart speaker in my setup says a lot. Just keep in mind that a lot of the experience comes down to how you configure your Home Assistant voice pipeline. If you get that right, then this can be seriously powerful. Or it can be super simple like mine, if that's all you want it to do, but to do it well. If you've got any questions about it, or if you want me to test something specific, then let me know down in the comments, or over on my Discord server, which is linked at the very top of my homepage on homeiswherethesmart.is. Also, be sure to check out my mid-tier channel membership if you want to be in with the chance of winning my first member-only giveaway, which I plan to do in the next sort of month or two if there's enough of you subscribed by then. But anyway, all that's left to say is thank you so much as always for watching, and remember, home is where the smart is.